So yesterday, after my Alabama versus Miami preview, I had someone message me and ask me, what are certain things I'm really honing in on and interested in seeing from Alabama's opener? And I thought that was a really cool idea. So with that, I wanted to talk about 5 things I'm really going to be looking for in the opener this Saturday. Before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I want to hear from y'all. Hop down to the comments, and given the fact that we've been talking about Alabama's defense for so long, and this unit looks to be a stifling defensive unit. Do you believe that Alabama holds Miami under 21 points come Saturday? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification because I do constant college football content and you don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoyed that content, be sure to like and comment down below. Those interactions are massive to content creators such as myself. But with all that being said, let's break down the 5 things I'm really looking for in Alabama's opener, and let's start with 5. And at 5, I'm really interested to seeing how Miami is going to test Alabama's newest corner, Jalen Armour Davis. Armour Davis is a guy that's been in Alabama's system for quite some time. He's drawn high reviews, but the injury bug has shown its ugly head time and again. However, this is a season where Jalen Armour Davis is set to start next to Josh Jobe, Jobe being pegged as one of the top 5 returning cornerbacks per Pro Football Focus. So I'm very interested to see because logically it would make sense. I know Miami is going to test everything, but you can bet that they're going to be trying to test the newest guy on the field because there's so much they don't know about him yet, and that only makes sense. Now, personally, I think the secondary will hold up great, but really for my number 5, I'm really anticipating and very excited to see how Jalen Armour Davis does in his first start because there are some dudes in this secondary, and I think Jalen Armour Davis is about to show that he is absolutely one of them. I think along with that, just kind of a tidbit before we go into 4, I'm very interested to see if in dime or any other packages, we see some of these freshmen in Kool-Aid McKinstry and Terrion Arnold, both guys Saban has spoke very highly of. Moving on to number 4 and staying on the defensive side of the ball, I'm really excited about this linebacking core. You know, going back to when Henry To'oTo'o announced that he would probably be leaving the University of Tennessee, I was really adamant that I thought Alabama would be a great fit for him with the loss of Dylan Moses. The defensive systems are similar, and Alabama wanted this kid coming out of high school, and all he's done since he's gotten to college football is show he is a premier linebacker within college football. Alabama is now in a position where, along with Christian Harris, they get To'oTo'o to be the signal caller of that defense. So my number 4 really revolves around how does this defense look with To'oTo'o as the signal caller? More specifically, how is the linebacking play going to be? The one thing that makes me really happy when we're hearing Nick Saban and the coaches talk at these pressers is how vocal of a leader To'oTo'o has been. And at that middle linebacker position, specifically the one who's calling the plays, that is so necessary. It helps everybody understand what their job is and keeps everybody on the same page, which minimizes the amount of chances you have to make mistakes. I think that's going to be huge, especially against a team like Miami that's going to be running some very high tempo stuff. If we look at what Rhett Lashley has done in the past, he's a guy that's synonymous with tempo. Then when you look at the kind of players Miami has on that offense, with or without Rhett Lashley, that's a unit that looks to be going tempo. With Rhett Lashley, we know for a fact they are going to be going tempo. So how do the middle linebackers help that case? At number 3, shifting over to the offense where we will stay for the remaining 3. I'm very keen on the wide receiver room. You know, I talked the other day about how Mechie's really the only guy with a ton of experience in an Alabama Crimson Tide uniform. Slade Bolden has experience, but Mechie got a lot of good quality reps last year. So did Slade, but Mechie turned it into almost 1,000 yards. Slade Bolden is an individual who is going to be big for a new quarterback, especially against the zone. He has a deep understanding of how to find open space and make himself an open target. And when you have a young quarterback, that is not a quality that we need to look over. That's a quality that could be huge for a young quarterback in getting Bryce Young easy throws, getting him in rhythm, and keeping his confidence up. And, you know, outside of Mechie and Bolden, the 2 guys for Alabama that have the most experience, Alabama was graced with a very talented transfer. And the transfer portal this year is something I think we all need to keep in mind. It's something I talked about when I was talking about Oklahoma the other day, both in their running back and wide receiver news, that the transfer portal has allowed a team such as Lincoln Riley's Oklahoma Sooners to have losses but still have depth because of that portal. And much the same when we look at Alabama. Alabama getting getting Jamison Williams in from Ohio State and Henry To'oTo'o in, providing excellent depth at both of those positions. And in Jamison Williams' case, we're talking about a guy that has quality experience in college football. And when you pair that with Mechie, with Bolden, and with the talented wide receivers, though inexperienced, have unbelievable talent, this Alabama wide receiver room is one that I'm very interested to see how it progresses throughout the beginning and to the end of that Miami game and continuing in the season, because I truly think sky's the limit in that wide receiver room. There are names on names on names, and I think they're about to show everybody just how talented they are. On my number 2, Bryce Young. And Bryce Young is my number 2, and it's not just Bryce Young, it's a combination of Bryce Young and Bill O'Brien. Alabama breaks in a lot of new on this offense, and one of those new factors happens to be the highest rated quarterback in Alabama recruiting history, and that is Bryce Young, certainly of the Nick Saban era. Bryce Young, a former 5-star out of Mater Dei. If you go back and watch, this kid right here has got the it factor. But now it's just about how is this going to come together come Saturday. He's a young player with plenty of talent, but he is inexperienced, and Miami will look to make him uncomfortable. It's only natural. They'll be sending blitzes from multiple different ways and different areas to keep him off balance and to keep him questioning. The saving grace in all of that is this is a mobile quarterback. He's a really twitchy quarterback as well, and as we saw in the spring game in A-Day, he was able to get himself out of a bad situation and make a play afterwards on that first drive he had. So Bryce Young plus Bill O'Brien, that combination I think is going to be one that we have to watch not only in Miami but throughout the season. How much are we going to see of some route modifications? That's something that I've talked about in the past when I've looked at Bill O'Brien, that he brings to the table are really intriguing route modification concepts from multiple different positions. Finally, my number one thing to watch is the offensive line. And the offensive line is an interesting one because they return Evan Neal. Emil Ekiyor looks poised for a big season. But outside of that, there's some shakeup. And it seemed like it was a good thought and sound logic that Chris Owens would be starting. However, we've heard Darian Dalcourt has made that an absolute competition, which could shake up everything on the offensive line as far as I'm concerned. The good news about this is the offensive line is not short on talent for the Crimson Tide. It's just who starts where. If Dalcourt ends up winning that job, I'm going to take it as that he was just so good he couldn't be denied. That's how I'm going to look at it. I'm hoping that's the case, certainly, because Chris Owens was very serviceable in his last few games. He played high-quality football against really solid opponents, and I was really looking forward to his experience. But that right tackle is where I'm really interested in. Do we see J.C. Latham and Randolph on Saturday? Remember, this offensive line has an experience, but this talent pool in this offensive line group is unbelievably solid. So that right there are my top 5 things I'm watching for in Saturday's game, from the new cornerback to how Henry To'oTo'o really quarterbacks this defense, to the wide receiver room that is not short on talent, but has a little bit of inexperience to it, to the Bryce Young era beginning for Alabama, one of the most talented quarterbacks in recent memory coming out per 24/7 Sports, finally takes over, and finally, how does this offensive line shake up like the wide receiver room? Not short on talent, but has some inexperience that we need to see. Very interested in hearing from y'all. First and foremost, do you believe that Alabama holds Miami under 21? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no, and then heck, if you feel like it, let me know what 5 things you're looking for as well come Saturday. That's it. See ya.